This video is for the sensitive souls who are building businesses and they are finding that there's something keeping them from actually implementing the strategy that they know they should or want to put in place to grow their businesses. A lot of the time when this happens and we're stuck in procrastination, we're stuck in just struggling to take action on certain things, we think that it's because we're lazy, we start blaming ourselves, thinking there's something broken inside of us. And I'm here to tell you, you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. Most likely what's going on is there's something in the body that is stopping you from taking that action. The body's role is to keep you safe. And so if it's perceiving any kind of threat through an action that you're supposed to be taking, it's gonna stop you from taking it. It's gonna make it really, really difficult for you to take that action. So the work that I do is supporting people to look at where the threat comes from. Why does the body think that a certain action will bring threat? And we go to the depth, we understand where this pattern comes from, and we unlock it from there rather than trying to push through, which is what most coaches tell you. Most coaches just tell you, like, keep going, just do it. And I think that is toxic advice for anyone, but specifically for sensitive souls that just feel the things so deeply. It can be really very difficult for us to take action when we don't feel completely aligned and when our body is giving us the signals that it doesn't feel safe. Today I'm going to react to a short clip of a session that I had with my client Daniela to show you part of the process of how I go about unlocking these business blocks. Daniela, we actually started working together properly after this session. So we had this short session together, and then afterwards we decided to start properly working together, and the results with her were pretty immediate and pretty amazing. And I actually knew this before we started working together. She went from not knowing where rent was going to come from to, within a week of working together, having 6K come in projected revenue, 2K cash that week and 6K in projected revenue. So how this all started is that me and Daniela were in a business course together. And I was seeing that in some ways she was successful, and then in other ways she wasn't taking action on some of the things that we were encouraged to do. Like, for example, having a masterclass, things like that. And I was asking her, how come you're not doing these different things? She had, a booming social media with loads of people following her. And so I knew that if she did do some of these things, she would actually be super successful with it. So I asked her, what's happening in the body when you're trying to take that action and you're being stopped? Where is that coming from? And what she described to me was this shield that was sat on her solar plexus that was stopping her from taking action. And when I asked her what it was trying to protect her from, she told me it was trying to protect her from people throwing stones at her. Little side note, this looks like a witch wound to me, and I'll talk about this in another video. But essentially, it's a program that she's gotten, probably not from this lifetime, but from something in her ancestry, and she feels like she has to protect herself from being loud and completely expressed. When we went on to explore this, she realized that it was connected to this memory that she had.
What feels significant is a safe, like the safe we used to have. It was a big white box. Don't know what that's about.
At first, she doesn't understand what's going on, but you'll see that we just stayed with this image for a few seconds, and a few seconds later, here she is again.
I know what's inside the box now, like as an adult. But at the time, I didn't know what was in there.
What's inside the box, if you want to tell us?
Yeah, it's where my mum found evidence that my dad had been cheating on her. In that box.
Noticing there any sensations that come up.
I felt almost like, as I said it, there was this, like an urge to smile. And then it felt like the smile was a mask, and I moved back out of the mask.
So I didn't need to do much here because Daniela is a somatic coach herself. So she's catching her own reactions by herself. But what happened there is she started talking about this white box and started smiling, even though there's nothing really to smile about in the white box. And then she caught herself smiling and she understood, that's a mask that I needed to put on. And most likely what happened is as a child, she learned that in order to stay safe, she had to pretend everything was okay and hide her true feelings. So noticing if there's anywhere else the mask still lives.
Ugh. It feels like the mask is also the remains of this thing.
I think she's talking about the shield here, the shield on her solar plexus. So shaking that off if you want to, and noticing that that came up, and seeing if there's any more of that wants to come out. Ugh.
Ugh.
And so here I'm encouraging the processes that are happening in her body already automatically. A lot of the time we repress ourselves, and so we kind of get in the habit of not necessarily fully expressing the feeling. Like here it's disgust, right? She has this disgust that's happening and we kind of repress it. And I'm encouraging her to make it even bigger, just to fully release it.
Ooh, it's like the posture I learned to hold. That's like never angry and just fine.
Mm.
Just fine.
Mm.
Mm.
So noticing there if there's anything else that needs to be done, shaking off some sounds.
Ah. Mm. Mm. Ah. Mm.
What's funny? Look what happens once she acknowledges that.
As I was making my sounds and my just like natural, I noticed a thought that's it says careful, careful they don't think you're crazy.
Mm. Careful they don't think you're crazy. Here I'm just mirroring that thought back to her so that she can hear it again and see what sensations come up when I say it back to her.
Yeah.
Mm. And there's some emotion there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some sadness.
For my self-expression, for just the way that my body moves and does and knows. Mm.
So you can see here she's yawning, and she was yawning a lot at the beginning of the session and also at the end of the session. So it's her nervous system discharging and moving energy. And just like that, the sadness left.
Yeah. And I'm feeling the coolness of my cheeks now.
And noticing if there's anything that still needs to be felt or expressed in this space. Noticing your nervous system upgrading through the yawns.
So many yawns. And it feels like almost wriggling out of these things that are still here, but for my self-expression, for just the way that my body moves and does and knows.
And just like that, the sadness left.
Yeah.
So I've sped up the session a little bit here because it's quite a lot of moments of pause and really taking time within her body. But you can see even in the longer session, the time that she spent in the sadness, it was quite quick. Most people think that most people are afraid to feel their feelings because they're scared that if they just let themselves feel, they will get stuck there. But what I see is that actually that's quite untrue. Most of the time, people will go into the sadness and they'll come right back out after a few minutes if they allow themselves to fully feel it.
And I'm feeling the coolness of my cheeks now.
And noticing if there's anything that still needs to be felt or expressed in this space. Noticing your nervous system upgrading through the yawns.
So many yawns. And it feels like almost wriggling out of these things that are still here, but they're it's like they're clay. They're clay that's dried up and they're just gonna like flick off eventually. They're like gonna flake off in the wind.
So to me, what she's saying here is it's not all, the process hasn't completed, but especially since she's a somatic coach, I trust that she'll be able to continue anything else by herself. And also within this context, we were in a masterclass, so we needed to keep this session relatively short. So noticing if you feel okay, leaving it here slowly, but in your own time. Coming out of it.
Big mega yawns. Hi.
How was that?
Beautiful, potent. Yeah, so interesting. What came? Like, and that it felt almost like a neutral or like low stakes, very little tea.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very little tea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a significance about that house, about that place, about the safe,
Mm-hmm.
and also that that the ants turned into butterflies.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Is there anything that you feel like you want to express? Do you feel complete?
I feel complete.
Nice.
Thanks.
With Daniela, she had pretty amazing results, and what she didn't need was another to-do list and another strategy. What she needed was to understand where the blocks were coming from. And as we did here, we went back into her childhood to understand where the core patterns began. So this is only a part of my whole CPR method, which is core pattern reprogramming. So we go back to the core patterns, we find where they came from, and then we will go as well about reprogramming it, which starts simply by fully processing the emotions that didn't get a chance to be processed in the past. And then we also reprogram it, which I will be touching on a future video. So as I said, with Daniela, she had pretty amazing results, and what she didn't need was another to-do list and another strategy. What she needed was to understand where the blocks were coming from. And as we did here, we went back into her childhood to understand where the core patterns began. So this is only a part of my whole CPR method, which is core pattern reprogramming. So we go back to the core patterns, we find where they came from, and then we will go as well about reprogramming it, which starts simply by fully processing the emotions that didn't get a chance to be processed in the past. And then we also reprogram it, which I will be touching on a future video. So if you feel like there's something invisible holding you back from being able to take the action you need to take in order to grow your business, you might be carrying your own version of this shield. I actually have 2 spots left on my summer cohort. So click the link down below to apply for a discovery call with me, where we will pinpoint where the blocks are for you, what is keeping you from getting to that next level in your business.